I thought my ex-boyfriend's uncle was a playboy. I assumed he'd stay out all night. But he came home on time every day, cooked for me, and washed my feet. He held me close and whispered, "Baby, as long as you're happy." I looked at him, thinking this revenge was almost too sweet. Regretting it? The deep voice sounded above my head, tinged with a faint, almost imperceptible smile. I lifted my head and met Devon's deep, piercing eyes. On our wedding night, my husband, my ex-boyfriend's uncle. Regret? I twisted my lips. Mr. Devon, we each get what we need. I need a wife to silence the gossip, and you need the title of Lady Diana to exact revenge on my good-for-nothing nephew. It's just a transaction, what's there to regret? The smile in his eyes deepened, seemingly pleased with my answer. Very good. He retrieved a document from the nightstand and handed it to me. Prenuptial agreement. Take a look. I took it, a cold smile playing on my lips. Sure enough, the rogue was heartless, he'd had this prepared all along. But when I opened the agreement, I froze. Not a single clause bound me. Instead, every single one was designed to protect me. All property acquired after marriage shall belong solely to me. In the event of divorce, he shall leave with nothing. One clause even states, Party A, Devon, is obligated to cooperate with all revenge plans devised by Party B, myself, without objection. My fingers tightened slightly around the paper. Devon, what do you mean? What I mean is, he leaned closer, his warm breath brushing my ear. Lady Diana, whatever game you wish to play, I'll play along. His voice resonated like a rich cello, sending shivers down my spine. I forced myself to stay calm and turned my face away. I don't need it. You will need it. He straightened up, undoing his shirt cufflinks with the grace of a nobleman. Get some rest. Tomorrow I'll have the nanny prepare your favorite pigeon soup for you. I whipped my head around. How did you know I like pigeon soup? His footsteps halted, but he didn't turn back. I guessed. The door closed softly. The vast bedroom was left with only me. I stared at the agreement in my hand, feeling a sense of confusion for the first time. This man seemed different from the tool I had imagined. The next morning, I was awakened by the aroma of food. Stepping out of the bedroom, I saw Devon wearing an apron, bustling about in the open kitchen. Morning light streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a warm glow on his tall, slender figure. Hearing the sound, he turned to look at me, a gentle smile on his face. Awake? Come have breakfast. The table was set with an exquisite breakfast spread, including a steaming bowl of pigeon soup. I sat down, my heart filled with mixed emotions. Just then, my phone rang. It was Cole, my ex-boyfriend. I pressed to answer and put it on speaker. Diana. What the hell do you think you're doing? How dare you marry my uncle? His furious shout blared from the other end. I took a leisurely sip of soup and spoke calmly. Cole, watch your language. You should call me Auntie. Dead silence instantly filled the line. Then came an even more furious roar, you bitch. You're just doing this to get back at me. Yeah. I admitted it openly. I was getting back at you. And another thing, I cut him off, don't call your aunt unless it's important. Your uncle won't be happy. With that, I hung up. The world was quiet again. Across from me, Devon elegantly sliced the fried eggs on his plate, as if he hadn't heard our earlier conversation. He pushed half of the portion toward me. Eat more. You're too skinny. I watched him and suddenly realized that the beginning of this revenge seemed to be going much smoother than I'd imagined. And, much more interesting. Ding dong, the doorbell rang. Devon set down his knife and fork and got up to answer it. Standing at the door were two people, my biological mother and my half-sister, Bonnie. The moment Mom saw me, her eyes welled up. Diana. How could you be so foolish? Bonnie trailed behind her, timidly looking at me, yet a hint of smugness flickered in her eyes. Sis, don't blame Mom. She's just worried about you. I watched their little act with a cold stare. What is it? My mother clutched my hand, her voice filled with anguish. What on earth happened between you and Cole? Even if you broke up, you can't marry his uncle. If word gets out, where would the Lynn family's reputation stand? The Lynn family's reputation? I laughed. When you pressured me to donate bone marrow for Bonnie's boyfriend with leukemia, did you ever think about the Lynn family's reputation then? Now that he's my brother-in-law, you suddenly think I married someone disgraceful? My mother's face turned pale and then flushed. Bonnie quickly stepped in to smooth things over. Sis, you've got the wrong idea. That's not what we meant. We just think Mr. Devon, well, he has a bit of a reputation. We're worried you might get hurt. She spoke, stealing a glance at Devon with utter contempt in her eyes. Devon leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching them with a smirk. Oh? How's my reputation so bad? Bonnie shivered under his gaze and scurried behind my mom. My mother plucked up her courage and said, Mr. Devon, my Diana is innocent and doesn't understand the complicated schemes of wealthy people like you. You and my son-in-law are uncle and nephew, and now you've married my eldest daughter. This relationship is far too complicated. I don't care what deal you made, but you two get divorced immediately. Devon raised an eyebrow, saying nothing, but fixed his gaze on me. The implication was clear, you handle this. A surge of anger flared up inside me. My marriage, since when did you get to decide? I'm your mother. I make the rules. Oh, I nodded. Then starting today, I'm cutting all ties with you. That way, my business won't concern you anymore. You. My mother trembled with rage, pointing her finger right at my nose as she yelled. You ungrateful daughter. You'd abandon your own mother for a man. Didn't you already give up on me as your daughter for Bonnie's sake? I retorted coldly. The atmosphere remained tense. Devon suddenly let out a soft chuckle, breaking the silence. He walked over, wrapped his arm around my shoulder, and pulled me into his embrace. Finished? He looked at my mother and Bonnie with a gentle gaze, yet his words were laced with barbs. If you're done, please leave. Mrs. Diana is tired and needs to rest. Bonnie bit her lip in frustration. Mr. Devon, don't let my sister fool you. She doesn't love you at all, she's only doing this to get revenge. I know, Devon replied, his tone as calm as a cloudless sky. Bonnie froze. I froze too. But I'm happy to oblige, he continued. What can I do? He lowered his head and pressed a soft kiss to my forehead. After all, there aren't many things that make my wife happy. In that instant, the expressions on my mom and Bonnie's faces were more colorful than a painter's palette. Devon left them speechless, and they ended up slinking away in defeat. The door closed before I could pull away from Devon's embrace. You just acting, he cut me off, his tone returning to its usual flatness. The agreement says I'm supposed to play along. He turned toward the kitchen, as if the tender man from moments ago had been nothing but a figment of my imagination. The soup in the pot is getting cold, go finish it. Watching his retreating figure, I forced down that strange feeling that had just begun to stir within me. Right, it's just acting. I can't get too caught up in the role. This weekend, Devon's family hosted a dinner at their old house. It was my first formal meeting with his family since we got married. As the car pulled up to the front gate, I took a deep breath, bracing myself for a tough battle. Devon covered the back of my hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. Don't be afraid. I'm here. His hand was warm, dry, and strong, offering me an inexplicable sense of reassurance. We walked into the hall side by side. The living room was packed with people, elders, peers, and younger relatives, all gathered together. Cole and Bonnie were right there among them. As soon as they saw us, every pair of eyes turned toward us. Their gazes were filled with scrutiny, contempt, and the schadenfreude of spectators waiting for a show. Cole's mother, my former mother-in-law, took the first shot. Well, if it isn't Diana. Haven't seen you in a few days, and now you've climbed the social ladder, can't even remember to greet your elders? Her sarcastic tone successfully dropped the temperature in the living room by several degrees. Before I could speak, Devon's cool voice cut in. "Sister-in-law, you've got it wrong. She's my wife now, your sister-in-law. By family hierarchy, you're the one who should greet her." His single sentence instantly deflated the other woman's pride. Cole's mother's face turned the color of liver in an instant, so furious she couldn't utter a word. Bonnie quickly stepped forward, looking pitifully helpless. "Uncle, don't blame Auntie, she just speaks her mind." "Sister, you should apologize to Auntie. We're all family." Her words seemed to smooth things over, but they were actually pinning the blame on me. As if I were the unreasonable one, the one who nitpicks over every little thing. I laughed. "Family? Bonnie, have you forgotten how you begged me in tears, saying you and Cole truly loved each other and asking me to give you my blessing? What, now you want to be family with me?" Bonnie's face went pale in an instant. Cole saw this and immediately pulled me aside, warning me in a hushed voice. "Diana, have you had enough of this? This isn't the place for you to act out." "Act out?" I stared at him, my eyes cold. "Cole, have you forgotten that I'm your aunt now? Isn't it inappropriate for you to be tugging at me like this?" I deliberately emphasized the word aunt. Cole's face turned ashen. Just then, a commanding voice boomed from the head of the table. "Silence." It was the Devon patriarch, the group's controlling shareholder. He slammed his cane down on the floor, instantly silencing the entire room. The old man's cloudy eyes swept over each of us before finally resting on me. "Diana, is it?" "Yes, grandfather," I replied respectfully. "I never approved of your marriage to Devon. But since you've already obtained the marriage certificate, you are now family." He shifted his tone abruptly, his words taking on a sharp edge. "Being a daughter-in-law in this family isn't so easy. Ours is a household that values propriety above all else. We detest those who stir up trouble and harbor ulterior motives." These words were clearly meant for my ears alone. I was about to speak when Devon beat me to it. "Grandfather, I know my own people." He stepped beside me, took my hand, and met the old man's scrutinizing gaze with unwavering honesty. "I know Diana better than anyone else. As for those with ulterior motives..." He paused, his gaze sweeping coldly over Cole and Bonnie. "Some people, better not let me find out what they're up to behind my back. Otherwise, the rules of this house aren't just for show." His words carried a heavy warning, causing Cole and Bonnie's faces to pale even further. The old man said nothing more, only fixing Devon with a piercing stare. The family dinner was fraught with unspoken tensions. On the way home, the car was deathly quiet. I stared out the window at the streets rushing by, my mind in turmoil. Devon had defended me so fiercely today. So fiercely, it didn't feel like an act. "What are you thinking about?" he suddenly asked. "Nothing." I snapped back to reality. "Devon, thank you." "For what?" "For helping me today." He chuckled softly. Clause 5 of the agreement. Party A is obligated to uphold Party B's reputation and dignity. Another agreement. The tiny spark of hope that had just begun to flicker in my heart was instantly extinguished. So it was just another transaction after all. I gave a self-deprecating chuckle and closed my eyes. "Diana, don't be foolish." The storm hadn't subsided. The next day, the internet was flooded with my dirt. They claimed I had a messy private life, abandoned my ex for money, and married into wealth by any means necessary. They even included a few blurry photos. In the photos, a woman resembling me is seen behaving intimately with different men. These images are clearly doctored. Yet netizens pay no heed, they only believe what they choose to believe. In an instant, I became the scheming gold digger everyone online despised. My coworkers started pointing fingers at me too. Walking down the hallway, I could hear their whispers. "Look, it's her. I hear she's got some pretty clever tricks up her sleeve. Pretty as she is, it's a shame her heart isn't in the right place." I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my flesh. I knew this had to be Bonnie and Cole's doing. They were trying to drive me to ruin with public opinion. That evening, I came home to find Devon watching the financial news. He turned off the TV when he saw me. "You're back?" I said nothing, just flung my phone in front of him. On the screen were all those unsavory dirt about me. "Devon, is this what you meant by supporting me?" My voice carried a hint of hurt and anger I hadn't even noticed myself. "Is this what you meant by protecting my dignity? Now the whole world treats me like a joke. Are you satisfied?" I bristled like an enraged hedgehog, raising every quill on my body. I didn't know why I was lashing out at him. Perhaps it was because, deep down, I had harbored a sliver of hope for him. And now, that hope had been dashed. Devon looked at me, his eyes utterly still. He simply asked calmly, "You think I did this?" "Isn't that exactly what you did?" I retorted. "You used me as a pawn to disrupt the family, just to watch your nephew's downfall. Now that I'm ruined and disgraced, isn't that exactly what you wanted?" My words cut like a knife, stabbing him, and stabbing myself. Devon fell silent. He just stared at me, his gaze deep as an ancient well, leaving me unable to see what lay hidden within. After a long pause, he finally spoke softly. "Diana, is this how you see me?" His voice was quiet, yet tinged with a barely perceptible weariness and disappointment. My heart gave a sharp jolt. I opened my mouth, wanting to say something, but no sound came out. He stood up and retrieved a locked wooden box from his study. With a click, the lock opened. He took something out and handed it to me. It was a yellowed old photograph. In the picture was a girl with a radiant smile, her eyes and brows bearing a striking resemblance to mine. Beside her stood a green-faced youth. That youth was Devon in his younger days. "Her name is Freya, my fiancée." Devon's voice sounded as if it came from afar, tinged with a hollow hoarseness. "5 years ago, she died." My mind went blank with a buzzing sensation. A hit-and-run accident, the driver remains at large to this day. He paused, his gaze settling on my face, his eyes churning with complex emotions I couldn't decipher. The reason for that car accident was that she discovered a secret. A secret about Cole and your sister Bonnie. My heart felt as though it were being crushed by an invisible hand, the pain so intense it left me gasping for breath. I looked at him, saw the bottomless sorrow and hatred in his eyes. I finally understood. I was not his pawn. I was merely a substitute in his revenge scheme, someone who happened to appear and bore a resemblance to the woman he loved. And my own vengeance, in the face of his 5-year-long, blood-soaked grudge, was as insignificant as a speck of dust. I thought I was the one holding the pieces. But it turns out, from the very beginning, I was merely a chosen pawn. This marriage, this revenge, from start to finish, it was never my solo act. "So you married me just because I look like her?" My voice was as dry as sandpaper. Devon didn't break eye contact. "Yes." One word, like an ice pick, piercing through my last line of defense. All that tenderness and protection was just me seeing someone else through my own eyes. What a colossal joke I am. I laughed until tears nearly came. "Devon, you're quite the schemer. Using a living person to honor a dead one. Don't you think this is too cruel for both her and me?" He remained silent, his tightly pressed thin lips betraying the turmoil within. "I'm sorry." After a long pause, he finally uttered those 3 words. "I don't need your apology." I wiped my face, forcing myself to calm down. "I just wanted to know what the secret was." Devon gave me a deep look and took another item out of the wooden box. It was a voice recorder. He pressed play. From the device came the voices of Freya and Bonnie. "Bonnie, why would you do this? You knew Cole was my fiancé." Freya's voice was filled with anguish and disbelief. "Sister? Who's your sister?" Bonnie's voice was sharp and biting, a stark contrast to the meekness I usually saw. "Freya, don't push your luck. Who do you think you are? Nothing but a dog." Cole loves me. He always has. You're nothing but a shield he uses to placate his family. You think carrying his child means you can marry into this family? Dream on. Child. My whole body jolted, and I snapped my gaze toward Devon. His jawline was set tight, his eyes burning with overwhelming hatred. The recording continued. You all, Freya's voice trembled. Even a tiger doesn't eat its own cubs. How could Cole? Could? Why couldn't he? Bonnie laughed triumphantly. He personally forced that abortion potion down your throat. He said only my child is worthy to inherit the family legacy. Now that you know everything you need to know, you can get lost. Oh, right, I forgot to mention, I've tampered with your car's brakes. Good luck. The recording abruptly ended there. My blood seemed to freeze in my veins. I finally understand why Cole broke up with me so easily and moved on to Bonnie. It turns out they'd been hooking up all along. And I, just like Freya, was nothing but a stepping stone on their path to love. No, I was luckier than Freya. I was merely abandoned, while she, along with her unborn child, met her end. Those two bastards are utterly depraved. This is the truth you wanted. Devon's voice snapped me out of my shock. I looked at him, the man before me, burdened by such a heavy past, yet acting as if nothing had happened. He cooked for me, handled the online smear campaigns, and defended me at family gatherings. Yet I thought it was all an act. I even used the most vicious words to speculate about him and hurt him. A wave of overwhelming guilt instantly engulfed me. I'm sorry. This time, let me be the one to say those 3 words. I didn't know. It's not your fault. He cut me off, stowing away the recorder and photos, his expression returning to its usual cool detachment. Now, do you still want a divorce? I looked at him and shook my head without hesitation. No. Devon, starting today, we're allies. A fierce fire ignited in my eyes. I'll make them pay in blood for what they've done. The next day, I went to work as usual. The rumors seemed to have vanished overnight. My colleagues' gaze toward me shifted from contempt to awe and sympathy. I know it was Devon who made the move. Instead of resorting to forceful means to delete the posts, he released a video. In it, Bonnie and a man were seen in a booth at a bar, behaving intimately, with the man slipping an envelope into her hand. And that man was none other than the editor-in-chief of the online marketing account that had been spreading my dirt. At the end of the video, a transaction record was attached. 500,000. The evidence that Bonnie had hired online trolls to smear me was undeniable. Public opinion instantly shifted. Netizens began lambasting Bonnie as a venomous carnivorous plant. Some even dug up her half-sibling relationship with me and her mother's history of becoming a mistress to climb the social ladder. The Lynn family's reputation has been utterly ruined this time. I watched the news on my phone, feeling a surge of satisfaction. But this was only the beginning. After work, Devon picked me up. In the car, he handed me a document. What's this? I asked. All the documents for that new energy project Cole was handling at the company. I flipped through them, they were densely packed with nothing but project flaws and financial issues. What are you planning to do? Cut off the supply at the source. Devon's tone was flat, yet it carried a hint of ruthlessness. This project is the cornerstone of Cole's career. If it fails, he'll have no place left in the group. I understand. What do you need me to do? You come from a finance background. You should know better than I do how to leverage these assets. He looked at me, a hint of calculation in his eyes. Diana, this is the first step, and the most crucial one. Are you up for it? I smiled. Why wouldn't I be? I tucked the documents away, already forming a plan in my mind. Over the next few days, I worked during the day and spent my evenings poring over that document with Devon. We were like 2 comrades in arms, holed up in the study all night long. He'd make me a cup of hot milk and drape a coat over me when I dozed off. Between us, the former distance and formality had vanished. In its place was an indescribable understanding. Sometimes, I find myself lost in thought, watching his focused profile. This man, despite bearing such deep-seated resentment, manages to keep his life in perfect order. He remembers what I like to eat and what I dislike. He brews ginger tea with brown sugar for me during my period. He carries me back to the bedroom when I fall asleep at the desk, exhausted. I'm starting to lose track of whether he does these things for Freya or for me. Perhaps it's both. Or maybe he's just grown accustomed to being kind to someone. On the weekend, I went to Cole's office under the pretext of conducting a project financial review. When he saw me, his expression darkened. "What are you doing here?" "Work." I placed a report on his desk. "Cole, there's an issue with the data in this report. I need you to verify it." Cole picked it up impatiently, glanced at it, and tossed it aside. "Fine, you take it." "Cole, I'd advise you to take a closer look." I smiled and said, "After all, the amount involved here is no small sum. If grandfather finds out, can you handle the consequences?" My words made his face turn pale. He picked up the report again and began studying it intently. The longer he looked, the paler his face grew, until beads of cold sweat formed on his forehead. This can't be possible. How could it not be? I walked over to stand beside him, looking down at him from above. "Cole, you've been lining your own pockets and cooking the books under the guise of the project. Do you really think you've got this covered up perfectly?" You're talking nonsense," he retorted stubbornly. "Whether I'm talking nonsense or not, you know it in your heart." I slammed another file onto his desk. "Here. All the evidence of your crimes. Now you have two choices. First, go confess to Grandpa yourself and hope for leniency. Second, wait for me to hand this stuff over to Grandpa." I stared at his ashen face, a wave of vengeful satisfaction washing over me. "Cole, you choose." Cole ultimately picked the first path. Better to confess himself than be stabbed in the back by me and sent to the old man. Perhaps there was still a sliver of hope left. Of course, he wasn't foolish enough to spill everything. He picked out only a few minor, inconsequential issues and admitted his mistakes to the old man, skirting the more serious ones. The old man flew into a rage and, in front of everyone, whacked him hard several times with his cane. Finally, he was suspended to reflect on his actions, and Devon was given full control of the new energy project. Though Cole retained his position within the group, this incident left him severely weakened and stripped of all credibility. The look he shot my way was pure venom. Yet I felt nothing but satisfaction. That evening, Devon came home to find me in the living room with a face mask on. He paused when he saw me. "What's with the look?" "Just celebrating." I peeled off the mask, grinning like a cat that had stolen some fish. He looked at my bright smile, a hint of laughter flickering in his eyes. "So happy?" "Of course." I leaned in close and planted a smacking kiss on his cheek. "Mr. Devon, you really are my lucky charm." This was probably the first time I'd ever initiated such an intimate contact with him. He clearly seemed taken aback, his body stiffening for a moment. But I didn't care, I felt so elated I could have flown. "Come on," I exclaimed. "To celebrate our first victory, I'm treating you to a feast." I pulled him toward the door, but he stopped me. "The food at restaurants isn't clean. I'll cook for you." Then I was pinned down on the sofa, watching that billionaire man roll up his sleeves and prepare a meal for me. Suddenly, I realized that days like these aren't so bad after all. Revenge for wrongs, payback for grievances. When I'm tired and weary, I look back and see a lamp still burning for me, a bowl of hot soup still warm for me. This feeling is unfamiliar, yet, so comforting. Just when I thought everything was finally looking up, Bonnie had to go and mess things up again. She actually tracked down the company I work for. That day, I was making coffee in the break room when she suddenly appeared behind me. "Sis." I turned around to see her face streaked with tears. "What is it?" I couldn't be bothered with her nonsense. With a thud, she knelt before me. The break room doorway instantly filled with colleagues gathering to watch the spectacle. "Sis, I beg you, please let Cole go," she cried herself hoarse, as if I'd committed some unforgivable crime. "He's already been punished by Grandpa," and Uncle snatched the project away. "What more do you want? I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have let myself get so obsessed with sabotaging you. I apologize, I'll even kowtow to you." As she spoke, she actually began banging her head on the ground with a thudding sound. I watched her performance coldly. This appeasement act was truly well played. Anyone unaware might think I'd mistreated her. "Bonnie, what are you doing?" I asked calmly. "Kneeling like this, anyone watching would think I'd done something to you." "Sis, I really know I was wrong." She lifted her head, her forehead red from the impact, tears welling in her eyes as she looked at me. "Just let Cole go, and I'll do anything you want." "Oh?" I raised an eyebrow. "Anything? All right." I walked up to her, crouched down, and met her gaze at eye level. "Go tell everyone right now how you killed Freya and her unborn child 5 years ago." "You dare?" My words exploded like thunder in her ears. Her face instantly turned as pale as paper. What the hell are you talking about?" Bonnie's eyes were filled with terror and panic, her voice trembling. I don't even know any Freya." "Don't know her?" I sneered coldly, pulling out my phone and opening a photo. In the photo, Bonnie and Freya are pictured together. It was taken when Freya was still alive, back when they called each other sisters. "Surely you recognize this person?" Bonnie stared at the photo, her pupils suddenly contracting as if she'd seen a ghost. This is Freya, Devon's fiancée," I said, enunciating each word. 5 years ago, she died in an accidental car crash. And you were the one who caused that accident." My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear enough for all my colleagues nearby to hear. Everyone gasped, their eyes fixed on Bonnie with shock and contempt. "No. It wasn't me. You're framing me." Bonnie was completely panicked. She scrambled to her feet and lunged for my phone. I dodged her easily. "You know damn well whether I'm framing you or not. Bonnie, I'm giving you a chance. Right now. Get out of my sight. Otherwise, I can't guarantee where this photo and that recording might end up." Recording? Bonnie's face was beyond pale. She seemed drained of all strength, collapsing to the floor. I knew she was scared. Finally, under my icy stare, she scrambled out of the company, stumbling and crawling her way away. The farce had come to an end. But I knew this was only the beginning. Bonnie's panic had proven everything to me. Devon's suspicions were true. Freya's death had been orchestrated by her and Cole. Back home, I told Devon what had happened today. After listening, he just silently poured me a cup of warm water. "Does your hand hurt?" he suddenly asked. I froze for a moment before realizing he was referring to how I'd clenched my fist earlier, digging my nails into my flesh. I shook my head. But he took my hand, saw the deep nail marks in my palm, and frowned. He took a cotton swab and ointment from the first aid kit and carefully applied the medicine. His movements were gentle and tender. The cool ointment touched the wound, sending a faint sting through it. My heart pricked with pain too. "Devon," I murmured. Do you still love her?" I was asking about Freya. His hand paused mid-application of the ointment. The air seemed to freeze in that moment. After a long silence, he spoke again, his voice low and hoarse. "I don't know. For these past 5 years, the only thing that kept me alive was hatred. I thought I'd lost the ability to love anyone ever again." He lifted his head and looked at me, his deep eyes churning with complex emotions I couldn't decipher. "But Diana, since meeting you, I feel like I've found that feeling again." My heart skipped a beat. I stared at his face, mere inches away, at the earnestness in his eyes and the struggle. Suddenly, I desperately wanted to ask him, is it because I resemble her that you feel this way? Or is it because of me, just me? But the words stuck in my throat, and I couldn't bring myself to ask. I was afraid. Afraid of hearing that answer I didn't want to hear. Devon seemed to read my mind. He didn't pursue the topic further, just silently finished applying the ointment for me before getting up and heading to the kitchen. Hungry? I'll make you a bowl of noodles. Watching his retreating figure, I couldn't tell if I felt disappointed or relieved. Our relationship was like walking a tightrope. Take one step forward, and I feared shattering into pieces. Step back, and I couldn't bear the thought. This intense emotional tug-of-war was driving me mad. In the days that followed, a delicate balance emerged between Devon and me. We were allies fighting side by side, yet also roommates sharing the same roof. Together, we would dissect coal companies' financial statements, uncovering more loopholes. On weekend afternoons, we'd snuggle up on the couch together to watch an old movie. He still cooked for me every day and helped me blow dry my hair. And I, too, began learning to care for him. I'd remind him to eat on time, and when he worked late into the night, I'd bring him a cup of coffee. We both tacitly avoided mentioning that night's topic. But something had already begun to change. That day, I was organizing some documents when Devon's call came through. There's a charity dinner tonight. Get ready, I'll pick you up at 7. A charity dinner? Cole and Bonnie will be there too. I instantly understood. This was another trap. At 7 o'clock sharp, Devon appeared at the company entrance. Wearing the evening gown he'd had his assistant deliver earlier, I slipped into the car. The simple black velvet dress hugged my figure perfectly. You look stunning, he remarked sincerely. I fidgeted with my skirt hem, feeling slightly uneasy. Is this too flashy? Not at all. He took my hand. My wife should be the most dazzling presence in the entire room. His words sent my heart racing again, stubbornly refusing to stay calm. The gala dinner was abuzz with socialites, glasses clinking and conversation flowing. The moment Devon and I arrived, all eyes turned to us. He was tall and handsome, she radiant and captivating, a match made in heaven. I could feel countless gazes upon us, some tinged with envy, others with admiration, and still others filled with curiosity. Among them, none harbored more bitterness than Cole and Bonnie from the corner. Cole's standing at home had plummeted due to the project. His presence tonight was likely only because the old man had dragged him along to save face. Since Bonnie was exposed by me at the company last time, she's become the laughingstock of high society. Now, with her arm hooked through Cole's, her face is pale and her eyes dart about nervously, all traces of her former arrogance gone. Seeing us, she instinctively ducked behind Cole. Cole, meanwhile, glared at us with such venom it looked like he wanted to devour us alive. I linked arms with Devon and raised my glass to them with a smile. Pissed? That's exactly what I want. Midway through the gala dinner came the customary charity auction segment. The auctioneer presented an item, a sapphire necklace named Heart of the Ocean. Starting bid, 5 million. I stared at the necklace, my eyes lighting up. It was truly beautiful. Like it? Devon whispered in my ear. I nodded. He smiled, saying nothing. The auction began, and the bidding climbed steadily. Just as the bid reached 10 million, Cole suddenly raised his paddle. 11 million. The room erupted in gasps. Everyone knew about Cole's recent financial troubles, and no one expected him to have spare cash to bid on the necklace. I saw Bonnie standing beside him, wearing a smug smile. This was clearly for our benefit, an attempt to salvage some dignity. Childish. I was about to let Devon drop the bid when he nonchalantly raised his paddle. 20 million. He doubled the price outright. The room erupted in gasps once more. Cole's face instantly turned the color of liver. He probably hadn't expected Devon to be so disrespectful. Gritting his teeth, he raised his paddle again. 21 million. 30 million. Devon didn't even lift an eyelid. Cole fell completely silent. 30 million, it was far beyond his means. He could only watch helplessly as the auctioneer's hammer came down with a resounding thud. Congratulations, Mr. Devon, you have successfully won the heart of the ocean. Amidst the envious stares of the entire audience, Devon walked onto the stage and personally removed the necklace. Everyone assumed he would present it to me. Yet, holding the necklace, he walked straight up to Bonnie. I froze. The entire audience froze. What was he doing? Bonnie was stunned, staring blankly at Devon, unsure of his intentions. Cole's expression darkened considerably. He quickly shielded Bonnie behind him, watching Devon warily. Uncle, what do you mean by this? Devon ignored him, fixing his gaze on Bonnie instead, a cold curve forming at the corner of his mouth. Miss Bonnie, does this necklace look familiar? Bonnie's eyes fell upon the necklace, and her face instantly drained of color. I don't recognize it. Don't recognize it? Devon chuckled softly, his voice dripping with sarcasm. 5 years ago, Freya had an identical necklace, her 18th birthday present. Then the necklace vanished. And soon after, Freya met her end. With every word he spoke, Bonnie's face grew paler. By the end, she was trembling all over, barely able to stand. Devon, what the hell are you trying to say? Cole barked. What am I trying to say? Devon's gaze finally shifted away from Bonnie and fixed on Cole's face. That gaze was as cold as ice. I want to say that Freya's car accident back then wasn't an accident. He raised the necklace in his hand, his voice not loud but clear enough to carry throughout the entire banquet hall. It was murder. And the killers were these two. He pointed his finger straight at Cole and Bonnie. The entire room fell deathly silent. Everyone was reeling from this bombshell revelation. Family feuds, uncle-nephew betrayal, love triangles, murder. It was all too much to process. You're lying. Cole snapped, the first to react. Devon, don't make such outrageous accusations. What proof do you have? Proof? Devon chuckled. He snapped his fingers. Suddenly, a video began playing on the banquet hall's large screen. The footage showed surveillance footage from a jewelry store. In the video, Bonnie holds a Heart of the Ocean necklace while conversing with a sales associate. Their dialogue is captured with crystal clear clarity. Ma'am, are you certain you wish to have this necklace converted into a lighter? Yes, make the alterations subtly, don't let anyone spot the flaws. This is a top-grade sapphire. What a waste. Stop all this nonsense. Just do what you're told. The video finished playing, and Devon's voice sounded again. That lighter, it's on you now, isn't it, Cole? Cole's face instantly turned as pale as Bonnie's. He instinctively clutched his pocket. That single gesture said it all. All eyes were fixed on him. So that's how it is. He stole someone's necklace, turned it into a lighter, and carried it around every day? What kind of twisted mind does that take? The most venomous heart belongs to a woman. This Bonnie, she looks so delicate and fragile, yet she's so utterly vicious. And Cole, he could even harm his own child and fiancé. He's nothing but a beast. The surrounding murmurs felt like sharp knives stabbing into Cole and Bonnie. Their psychological defenses crumbled completely in that moment. No. It wasn't me. Bonnie stammered incoherently. It was Cole. He forced me to do it. He killed Freya. Bullshit. Cole snapped back, his voice rising. It was you. You were jealous of Freya. You were the one who suggested we kill her. Two people started tearing each other apart right in front of everyone. They dragged up all those dirty, sordid, shameful deeds from years past. I stood beside Devon, watching this farce unfold with cold detachment. Yet not a shred of satisfaction stirred within me. Only sorrow remained, for Freya, and for Devon. Though vengeance had been served, those lost could never return. I turned to look at Devon. He stared silently at the two people making fools of themselves on the screen, his face utterly expressionless. Only in those bottomless eyes did a glimmer of moisture seem to flicker. I reached out and gently took his hand. His hand was cold as iron. Feeling my warmth, his body stiffened, then he turned his hand and gripped mine even tighter. The outcome of the dinner party was predictable. Cole and Bonnie were taken away on the spot. What awaited them would be the full force of the law. Because of this scandalous affair, they became the laughingstock of the entire town. The old man suffered a stroke on the spot from the shock and was rushed to the hospital. The entire house was in utter chaos. Yet Devon and I, at the very center of this storm, had already left. On the way back, the car was as quiet as ever. Devon drove on, eyes fixed ahead, not uttering a word. I watched his tense profile and knew his feelings must be complex. Revenge had been exacted, yet it brought none of the relief or joy he'd imagined. Only an endless void and exhaustion remained. Devon. I spoke softly. We should go see her. I meant Freya. He was silent for a moment, then turned the steering wheel, and the car headed in another direction. Freya's grave lies in a suburban cemetery. It's quiet and secluded. The photograph on the headstone is still the one I saw before, the girl's smile blooming like a flower, forever frozen in her most beautiful years. Devon stood silently before the gravestone for a very long time. I didn't disturb him, just stayed by his side. The night breeze was chilly, sending a shiver down my spine. He took off his suit jacket and draped it over me. The fabric still held traces of his warmth. Diana. He finally spoke, his voice hoarse. It's over. It's over. Thank you. We're allies. I repeated what I'd said before. But he shook his head. He turned to face me, his eyes holding a vulnerability I'd never seen before. Diana, you're free. Our agreement ends here. Tomorrow, we'll file for divorce. My heart sank. I looked at him, searching his face for any hint of a joke. But there was none. He was serious. He wanted a divorce. Why? I heard my own voice trembling. My revenge is complete, he said. I can't keep you tied to me anymore. It's not fair to you. Fair? I laughed, a laugh uglier than crying. Devon, you're talking to me about fairness now? You're the one who dragged me into this game of revenge. Now that the game's over, you want to kick me to the curb? What do you take me for? Some pet you summon when you need me and dismiss when you don't. I stepped closer to him, tears falling despite myself. Devon, look me in the eyes and tell me. Is it really just about using me? Everything you've done for me, cooking my meals, drying my hair, standing up for me when I was bullied. Could it all just be because I look like her? I hysterically confronted him, unleashing all the grievances, anxieties, and uncertainties I'd been holding in. He backed away step by step under my pressure, his face twisted with pain and struggle. No, he managed with difficulty, Diana, no. What was that? He stared at me, his eyes churning with a storm of emotion. Finally, he pulled me into his arms and kissed me fiercely. This kiss was no longer the tender, lingering caress of before. Instead, it was filled with dominance, possession, and the long-suppressed depth of feeling. The kiss ended, leaving us both breathless. He held me close, as if he wanted to mold me into his very being. Diana, I love you, his voice rang out clearly in the silent night. Not because you remind me of someone, but because you are you. I love you, your strength, your wisdom, your fierce determination to get even, and even your occasional moments of vulnerability and confusion. I don't know when it started, but my gaze can no longer tear itself away from you. Seeing you smile makes me happy too. Seeing you cry, my heart aches more than if it were cut by a knife. I'm afraid my feelings for you might desecrate Freya. I'm even more afraid you'll be hurt because of me. So I wanted to let you go. But Diana, I regret it. He cradled my face, his forehead pressed against mine, his eyes so full of love they nearly drowned me. I can't live without you. So please, don't go, okay? My tears fell like beads from a broken string, impossible to stop. It turns out I wasn't just a substitute. It turns out he, like me, had gradually surrendered his heart in this game called revenge. I stood on tiptoe and kissed his lips first. Devon, listen carefully. I will never divorce you in this lifetime. Unless I die. He smiled, like a child who'd just received candy. He held me tightly in his arms, over and over, calling my name. Diana, Diana. In that moment, I felt that this revenge was almost too sweet. On my way home, I got a call from my mom. She was sobbing uncontrollably on the phone. Diana, the Lynn family is finished. Your dad's company went bankrupt, the house and car have been seized. Bonnie, she's been sentenced to life in prison. I listened quietly, my heart unmoved. What goes around comes around, karma always catches up. They brought this upon themselves. Diana, help Mom. Make Devon help us. Mom, I interrupted. When you abandoned me for Bonnie, did you ever think you'd end up like this? I didn't give her another chance to speak and hung up immediately. In the car, Devon took my hand and whispered, honey, as long as you're happy. I looked at him and smiled. Right now, I am happy. He started the car, and outside the window, the city's neon lights shimmered and sparkled. I leaned against his shoulder, my heart filled with peace. I knew that from now on, I would no longer be alone. I had a home now, and a lover who would spoil me rotten. The next morning, when I woke up, Devon was no longer beside me. My heart skipped a beat, and I sat up abruptly. Then, I caught the familiar scent of cooking. I stepped out of the bedroom and saw Devon bustling about in the kitchen, wearing the cartoon-patterned apron I'd bought for him. Sunlight spilled over him, warm and lovely. He saw me and turned with a smile. Awake? Go wash up, breakfast will be ready soon. As I looked at him, I suddenly felt that nothing in this world could be happier than this. 1 house, 2 people, 3 meals, 4 seasons. As for that prenuptial agreement I tossed into a drawer, long since useless, let it bear witness to our grand love affair, begun in the name of vengeance, ended in profound devotion.